Good morning, all my recovery enthusiasts. So, I'm able to play my Spotify while I make a video. That's never happened before. Anyway, so I wasn't sure what I wanted to do my video on today, and just got off the phone with my boyfriend, and I started thinking. I didn't get up early today, right? I slept in a little bit, so I didn't get to do my tasks that I wanted to do. But a lot of times, and I was raised with this philosophy that if we get hard on ourselves, if we, that tough love, it will motivate us to do better. And it's bullshit. It doesn't work. It's never worked for me. I don't know if it's worked for you, but the people that I've talked to, it's never worked for them either. But yet we still have this philosophy, this belief that, and maybe it stems from my childhood of, my dad, sorry Dad, but, don't cry, I'll give you something to cry about. That was the sense, that was the feeling, that was the notion. And like I say, I'm not bashing my parents and my upbringing. They did the best they can with what they knew and what they were taught, and I probably brought up my kids in a little bit of that as well, toughen up. But berating myself, putting myself down does not motivate me. So, and then I started thinking, well, I'm going through menopause. Maybe, there's a reason why I've been sleeping in a little bit. Maybe there's a reason why I've been craving chocolate. I think there is. I think there is something to that. And that, maybe my body needs rest. But then as conversation went on, and we were talking a little bit about him and the challenges that he's been having, I recognized in myself, I was giving him advice, and then I recognized that taking my own advice of, is it possible that there's something that I'm dreading, there's something I'm fearing, or something that, is making me uncomfortable, and so my body goes into that stress response. And I've talked to, I've made videos on that subject many times, actually. I think it's fascinating, so I do talk about it a lot. But this fight or flight, which actually has a third component, fight, flight, or freeze. And what happens is it's a survival mechanism that when our body, feels that there's danger, it protects us by either, it actually sets off a chain reaction of chemicals and physical responses in our body that we fight or flight. So adrenaline kicks off, cortisol increases, the heart rate increases, the part of our brain that problem solves is put on hold. So all these things actually physically happen. So physiologically we react. And again, our minds don't know the difference between a life and death stressor and just a mental anguish, right? So a mental stressor. And so maybe this morning I was going to work on one of my homework assignments that I didn't get to work on the other night because I left my folder at work. Sometimes I do my schoolwork at work if I have some downtime. And so I was going to work on it this morning, and I think it's not one of my favorite classes, I'm going to be honest. But I think just the dreading of that and the fear I have around that, because I don't feel, I feel incompetent sometimes to do these assignments, it's a writing assignment, that maybe that fear has put me in that freeze, right? My mind, my body is trying to protect me, not realizing it's not actual life and death, and it's putting me in that freeze. And I tend to this, I speak on this to my clients a lot because, we get overwhelmed with things and then we don't do anything. And I know the skill to use, or the antidote for this problem, is muscle. So it's not necessarily to do the task that I need to do. Eventually, I hope to do that. But initially, to break that habit loop, to break that cycle, to get me out of that stress response, is to move a muscle. So that means I could actually just get up out of bed. I can go to a different room. I can do some deep breathing exercises. I can do some stretches. Just do something, right? And that will kind of like interrupt that, psychological loop, habit loop that I have of, or that stress response that I have rather of, wanting to protect myself and freeze. So just some thoughts that, I love psychology. I love listening. I love learning about how our mind works, how our bodies work, and it just fascinates me. And so that's why I like to get on here a lot and speak on it. And this all relates to recovery. I mean, it happens to everybody, every human, but it relates to recovery because at the end of the day, this is my true belief. We use because we don't like the way we feel. And so if we're in a state of stress response or reacting to life stressors and being uncomfortable and then, freezing and then beating ourselves up because we actually responded the way that our body innately responds, we get into this cycle. We start feeling guilt and shame and all these uncomfortable feelings. And what do we do when we don't like the way we feel as an addict? We use. And so learning how to break those cycles, those thought patterns, learning how to, recognize that that's what our body's doing and how we can, how we can overcome those things is the cure or is the answer to our addiction problem, and living a life in recovery that is fulfilling. Because I know I didn't get sober to be miserable, and in fact it's detrimental to my recovery that I'm not miserable, that I live good, I feel good, I am confident and stress-free. Of course, the perfect model of being stress-free and fulfilled 24/7 is not realistic, but that's a goal, or at least reduce my stress and live my best life, and to be grateful and live in that, and live in my present moment and be mindful, and all that stuff is a goal that I have for my life, and to do that, these are certain things certain skills that I've learned that I have to do in order to do that. I hope this has helped you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Remember to let the people that you love know that you love them. Give them a text, give them a call, give them a big hug if you can. Live your life enthusiastically. There's no other way. And if anything, move a muscle. If you're not liking the way you feel, if you're stuck, move a muscle. Get up out of bed, stretch, take some deep breaths. You've got this. Until next time, guys.